And get a Samsung Galaxy Note 8, Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
On this Sunday night, moment of impact. When the massive typhoon came ashore, the staggering aftermath of the storm that has left an estimated 10,000 or more dead. Plus stories of survival as the U.S. joins a growing international relief effort. Speaking out, the NFL player accused of bullying gives his first interview since the scandal broke as he attempts to clear the air. Troubling picture, the new disturbing trend behind the wheel, with more and more drivers snapping photos of themselves. And back on course for women veterans who need some help returning to civilian life, a program that's becoming a real hit.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening. Tonight, the world is responding to the collective cry for help from the central Philippines, where we're hearing now as many as 10,000 lives were swept away under what may be the most violent typhoon to ever make landfall. The U.S. military tonight has joined the massive operation to bring relief to coastal towns that have simply been wiped from the map, others buried under fields of barely recognizable debris. The power is out, water and food in short supply, and bodies remain to be recovered. Officials say close to 500,000 people have been displaced tonight. All many can do is pray for those they've lost and pray for relief. Our team is in place to cover it all. We begin in Tacloban, Philippines, with correspondent Angus Walker.
Good evening, Lester. I'm standing in part of what remains of Tacloban Airport, and tonight families are forced to take refuge in the wreckage. There are dead bodies, crudely covered, still lying in the streets, not far from where I'm standing. The death toll now feared to be around 10,000. This amateur video, obtained by Filipino broadcaster ABS-CBN, shows the moment of impact. A wall of water 20 feet high by some accounts, crashing into Tacloban, leaving the city of 220,000 in ruins. Storm chaser Jim Eds rode out the storm in a hotel in Tacloban. He captured these images during the height of the deluge.
The wind was coming at me, and it was just really eerie because it would pick up and gosh, it got so strong and burst that you couldn't stand up. Probably most people that I saw got in trouble with the storm surge. The combination of the wind and water coming at you was just too much.
With winds of 150 miles an hour, Typhoon Haiyan knocked out communications and destroyed 70 to 80% of structures in Leyte province and nearly all in Tacloban. Food and water are in short supply, and residents cover their noses to avert the smell of bodies. This pregnant woman, Jenny de la Cruz, lost 11 members of her family when the waters rose. She says, right now, all we can do is survive the day. But I don't know what will happen tomorrow or the day after that. Today, the president of the Philippines toured the city.
But we are addressing first the needs of those who are still living, especially those who are injured, the need for food and the need for water.
Tacloban's airport was badly damaged by raging floodwaters. Now hundreds wait there, desperate to leave. The young and the frail allowed to go first. Holita Cao is 63. She barely survived. Her family didn't.
My husband, Yoshikawa, was lost, and my son.
She only has what she stands in. Security now a concern with TV footage showing widespread looting. One official calling on the government to declare martial law. At this hour, a massive relief operation is underway as the situation grows ever more desperate. The runway here is still intact, and the Air Force are flying in and out during daylight hours, beginning to rescue the many thousands who are desperate to leave. This is fast becoming a major international humanitarian airlift. Lester.
Angus Walker tonight. We want to hear more now from one of the people you just saw, Jim Eds, a storm chaser who was documenting the typhoon as it came ashore from a hotel. Here's how he described it in his own words.
It started to come in as the sun came up, and so I went out there with my camera and soon realized that it was just whiteout conditions. So I went right to the edge where the water was hitting these shacks, you know, was going up there and gouging them, and some stuff would peel off every now and then, and the wind really picked up. And so I jumped in the pool because I figured I'd be safer in the pool than out there in the open. After a while, I tried to get out of the pool because it started picking up even more, and it just kept blowing and blowing and blowing. It didn't let up for, it seemed like hours. I told people at the resort, the locals, I said, this is a really bad storm. You need to get out of here. There was a church. It's about 3 feet above sea level, and it was a stone's throw from the water. They had a bunch of kids in there. There's a lot of people that got in trouble on the coastline. They need water, and they need it quick. They need food.
As you hear from Jim Edge, there is a tremendous need for relief supplies, and at least some are coming in from a military airport in Cebu province. Our chief medical editor, Dr. Nancy Snyderman, was there today and saw both hope and frustration.
It is the tale of two cities on one tarmac in Cebu, Philippines. At one end, a C-130 cargo plane is being loaded with rice, canned food and water, destined for Tacloban and those who survived the typhoon. Awaiting human cargo on the other end, a commercial airline taking those who got out to Manila.
Did you have family behind in Tacloban?
Yes. Walang airport, walang signal, walang pagkain. Ngayon, ubos na. Magagawa nga namin, may mga naiwasan na kasi yung mga bata pa. Kailangan namin maglakad hanggang airport, so 3 hours.
Who is missing?
Walang passable roads, dead people everywhere.
48 hours after the monster storm struck, Mactan Air Base in Cebu is awash in humanity. Those seeking to get out, and ironically, those seeking to get in, hoping to find loved ones still alive.
We've been here since last night, and we'll still be here until we get on that plane.
Their bodies pressed against the fence, they are frustrated by what they believe has been an anemic response to the devastation, demanding information and clinging to hope that perhaps loved ones have escaped injury.
There are a lot of people waiting here. How are you going to decide who gets to go first?
If we are lucky that they give us boarding pass so we can go, but if no boarding pass, we cannot go yet. We need to wait until tomorrow again.
But as the sun sets, one thing is for certain. Small towns and villages remain cut off from the rest of the country, and some are gone forever, as people head in different directions, picking up the pieces of their lives. Dr. Nancy Snyderman, NBC News, Cebu, Philippines.
And as we said, it appears we've never seen a storm on this scale. To give you an idea of its power, consider this. Sustained winds reached 195 miles per hour, the gusts up to 235. The typhoon destroyed 70 to 80% of the structures in its path. And in the Philippines, 4.5 million people were affected by the storm, according to the country's National Disaster Agency. And across this country, great concern, along with hopes and prayers in the Filipino-American community and beyond. NBC's Mike Taibbi now with that part of the story.
Filipino Americans make up the second largest population of Asian immigrants in the U.S., and the historic disaster in the central Philippines has inspired a coast-to-coast response.
Everyone is helping each other now.
Prayers in community churches in New Jersey, an impromptu fundraising run in New York Central Park, and even more of the same in California, a 5K charity walk, and dozens of churches collecting food, clothing, shelter kits, and money for a stricken population that needs all of that.
In fact, about 1 in 4 of the nearly 4 million Filipino Americans live in Southern California alone. And in growing communities like the LA suburb of Eagle Rock, the scale of this disaster is having a profound impact.
Myrna Rodrigo lives here, but her husband, still working the family farm in the typhoon zone, barely survived.
Because of this typhoon, all his rice crops were ruined. The house was underwater.
Sympathy and support extend beyond the Filipino community. In Rome, Pope Francis led thousands of worshippers in silent prayer for those whose lives have been shattered in the largely Roman Catholic Philippines. And a Seattle-based medical rescue team made ready to deploy to a disaster scene carved by record winds gusting over 230 miles an hour.
I have no idea what we're going to find. There's no precedent for this.
And no relief for those whose concerns and fears are personal.
When I saw the news, I was shocked and I was crying because my children are all there.
The disaster still unfolding, the need for help incalculable. Mike Taibbi, NBC News, Eagle Rock, California.
If you would like to help in the relief effort, you can find out how by going to our website, NBCNightlyNews.com. There are new developments tonight in the case of the NFL player accused of bullying a teammate, Jonathan Martin. In an interview with Fox Sports, Richie Incognito of the Miami Dolphins told his side of the story. We get the latest tonight from NBC's Kerry Sanders.
As the Miami Dolphins arrived in Tampa for Monday night's game, an interview with suspended teammate Richie Incognito aired on Fox Sports NFL Sunday.
This isn't an issue about bullying. This is an issue of mine and John's relationship where I've taken stuff too far and I didn't know it was hurting him.
Incognito confirmed a voicemail he left teammate Jonathan Martin included the N-word.
It sounds terrible. It sounds, when it's on the screen, it sounds like I'm a racist pig. It sounds like I'm a meathead. It sounds a lot of things that it's not. And I wanted to clear the air just by saying I'm a good person.
Incognito says he was in contact with Martin after he left the Dolphins and before the outside world knew Martin had left the team.
You spoke with him? I texted with him. I text messages. I just spoke with him through text message. And he texted me and said, I don't blame you guys. I blame some stuff in the locker room. I blame the culture. I blame what was going on around me. And when all this stuff got going and swirling and bullying got attached to it and my name got attached to it, I just texted him as a friend and was like, what's up with this, man? And he said, it's not coming from me. I haven't said anything to anybody.
When asked what he would say if Martin was sitting there next to him, Incognito responded,
I think, honestly, I think I give him a big hug right now because we've been through so much, and I'd just be like, dude, what's going on? Why didn't you come to me? If he were to say, listen, you took it way too far. You hurt me. I would just apologize and explain to him exactly what I explained to you. And I apologize to his family that they took it as malicious, but I never meant it that way.
Tony Dungy is a former NFL coach and an NBC Sports analyst.
We heard his half of the story, but I think it's very dangerous to judge until you get all the facts in.
Fox Sports says Incognito showed them his phone with 1,142 text messages traded back and forth between Incognito and Martin. Fox Sports says one of those text messages from Martin came 4 days after he left the team. It reads, "What's up, man? The world's gone crazy. LOL. I'm good, though. Congrats on the win. Yeah, I'm good, man. It's insane, bro. But just know, I don't blame you guys at all. It's just the culture around football and the locker room got to me a little." The Dolphins play the Bucs here in Tampa tomorrow night. Lester?
All right, Kerry Sanders, thank you. A scare this weekend for those aboard a Spirit Airlines jet that had just taken off from Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Imagine looking out your window and seeing this. The plane was headed to Fort Lauderdale. It was about 15 minutes into the flight when a passenger noticed that a part of the cover on one of the engines had fallen off. The crew declared an emergency. The Airbus A319 returned safely to Chicago. After high hopes for an agreement on freezing Iran's nuclear program, those talks in Geneva with the U.S. and 5 other powers ended early today with progress, but no deal. We get more on the story from NBC White House correspondent Kristen Welker.
After talks in Geneva broke up without a deal, Secretary of State John Kerry defended his negotiating strategy aimed at freezing progress on Tehran's nuclear program in exchange for easing some economic sanctions, telling David Gregory on Meet the Press.
We are not blind, and I don't think we're stupid. We are acting in the interests of our country and of the globe, and particularly of our allies.
Today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu didn't buy that argument and publicly slammed the talks, saying the emerging deal would be bad for Israel.
Iran gives practically nothing, and it gets a hell of a lot. That's not a good deal.
The agreement under discussion would also make it harder for Iran to develop material that could be used for a nuclear weapon. Israel says sanctions should stay in place until Iran dismantles all of its enrichment capabilities.
The president has made it clear he will not reduce or change the overall core architecture of the oil sanctions, banking sanctions.
According to foreign policy experts, there was progress in Geneva, but major sticking points remain. Does a deal need to have more teeth in order for the international community to accept it?
The Israelis have said no enrichment whatsoever. So this could be the deal breaker, this Iranian insistence on some enrichment, but to a very low level.
At home, some lawmakers are opposed to lifting sanctions.
That we're going to deal away the leverage that we have, where we finally have Iran willing to sit down and talk about these issues.
A senior administration official says any agreement with Iran now would be a first phase, aimed at buying time to negotiate a final and broader settlement. Lower-level talks will resume in 10 days. Lester?
Kristen, thank you. When NBC Nightly News continues on this Sunday, add this, your own candid camera, to the list of dangerous driving distractions.
When I first felt the diabetic nerve pain, of course, I had no idea what it was. I felt like my feet were going to sleep. It progressed from there to burning, to like 1,000 bees that were just stinging my feet.
It's known that diabetes damages nerves. Lyrica is FDA approved to treat diabetic nerve pain. Lyrica is not for everyone. It may cause serious allergic reactions or suicidal thoughts or actions. Tell your doctor right away if you have these, new or worsening depression, or unusual changes in mood or behavior, or swelling, trouble breathing, rash, hives, blisters, changes in eyesight including blurry vision, muscle pain with fever, tired feeling, or skin sores from diabetes. Common side effects are dizziness, sleepiness, weight gain, and swelling of hands, legs, and feet. Don't drink alcohol while taking Lyrica. Don't drive or use machinery until you know how Lyrica affects you. Those who have had a drug or alcohol problem may be more likely to misuse Lyrica.
Having less pain it's a wonderful feeling.
Ask your doctor about Lyrica today. It's specific treatment for diabetic nerve pain.
There are seniors who have left hundreds of dollars of savings on the table by not choosing the right Medicare D plan.
No one could have left this much money here.
Yet many seniors who compare Medicare D plans realize they can save hundreds of dollars.
CVS Pharmacy wants to help you save on Medicare expenses. Talk to your CVS pharmacist, call, or go to cvs.com/compare to get your free, personalized plan comparison today.
Call, go online, or visit your local store today.
If you have high blood pressure like I do, many cold medicines may raise your blood pressure. That's why there's Coricidin HBP. It relieves cold symptoms without raising blood pressure. So look for powerful cold medicine with the heart, Coricidin HBP.
I'm Beth. And I'm Michelle, and we own the Paper Cottage. It's a stationery and gift store. That's cute, what's that? Anything we purchase for the Paper Cottage goes on our ink card.
So you can manage your business expenses and access them online instantly with the game-changing app from Ink.
We didn't get into business to spend time managing receipts. That's why we have Ink.
We like being in business because we like being creative. We like interacting with people.
So you have time to focus on the things you love. Ink from Chase. So you can.
We're back with yet another dangerous new trend on the road, an outgrowth of the social media phenomenon known as the selfie. Take a picture of yourself and post it for your friends to see. Trouble is, when you do it while driving, experts say it's as bad as texting or talking. Our report tonight from NBC's Miguel Almaguer.
From Twitter to Instagram, the latest trend, the driving selfie. Not just dangerous, this could be deadly.
Cell phones are involved in about 1 out of every 10 fatal crashes on the roads.
The cell phone self-portrait, often snapped while the car is in motion, is so popular among some drivers. On sites like Instagram, more than 3 million pictures are filed under hashtags like driving selfie, driving to work, and the ominous, I hope I don't crash.
Never texted and drove at the same time.
18-year-old Ashley Elliott says she's never taken a selfie behind the wheel, but she knows plenty who have.
I think it's very scary because all of a sudden they aren't looking at the road anymore. They have like one hand on the wheel, maybe.
Turns out nearly half of all high school students say they text behind the wheel, even though most states already ban any form of distracted driving. In fact, according to the Department of Transportation, some 3,300 Americans die every year because of distracted driving. And taking a selfie may be worse than sending a text because getting that picture just perfect takes time. With so many selfies surfacing online, Toyota launched an Instagram ad showing a crashed car through several filters with the message, "Don't shoot and drive."
When you're taking a selfie behind the wheel, your eyes are off of the road, your hands are off of the wheel, and your mind isn't focused on driving.
In Los Angeles, Dane Abbott just got his license, and he knows he'll lose it with just one selfie.
It's just a really dumb thing to do, and it's really not needed, because I mean,
People don't think you're cooler because you're just going to take a picture of you driving.
Tonight, Dane Abbott seems to have gotten the picture, even though so many others clearly haven't. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News, Los Angeles.
When we come back here tonight, be on the lookout. There's a satellite plunging back to Earth this evening.
The day my doctor told me I had diabetes, I remember thinking, there's a lot I have to do. Check my blood sugar, eat better, start insulin. Today I learned there's something I don't have to do anymore. My doctor said with Levemir Flex Pen, I don't have to use a syringe and a vial.
Levemir Flex Pen comes pre-filled with long-acting insulin taken once daily for type 2 diabetes to help control high blood sugar. Dial the exact dose. Inject by pushing a button. No drawing from a vial. No refrigeration for up to 42 days. Levemir Insulin Detamir rDNA origin injection is not recommended to treat diabetic ketoacidosis. Do not use Levemir if you are allergic to any of its ingredients. The most common side effect is low blood sugar, which may cause symptoms such as sweating, shakiness, confusion, and headache. Severe low blood sugar can be serious and life-threatening. Ask your healthcare provider about alcohol use, operating machinery, or driving. Other possible side effects include injection site reactions. Tell your healthcare provider about all medicines you take and all of your medical conditions. Get medical help right away if you experience serious allergic reactions such as body rash, trouble with breathing, fast heartbeat, or sweating.
FlexPen is insulin delivery my way.
Covered by most insurance plans, including Medicare. Ask your healthcare provider about Levemir FlexPen today.
This is a map of the pressure points on my feet.
I had flat feet. I learned where the stress was at the Dr. Scholl's Foot Mapping Center. Then I got my number, which matched the custom-fit orthotic inserts with the right support.
Find a Walmart with a foot mapping center at drscholls.com.
I'm a believer.
As a business owner, I'm constantly putting out fires. So I deserve a small business credit card with amazing rewards. With the Spark Cash Card from Capital One, I get 2% cash back on every purchase every day. I break my back around here. Finally, someone's recognizing me with unlimited rewards. Meetings start at 11, Cindy.
Get the Spark Business Card from Capital One. Choose 2% cash back or double miles on every purchase every day.
What's in your wallet? I need your timesheets, Larry!
A big heads up tonight for that 2,000-pound European satellite that ran out of fuel and was set to plunge back to Earth. Scientists were carefully watching it to determine where it might crash. They expected that to happen somewhere on the planet by early this evening. That's the closest they can pinpoint it. They started casting this weekend for the next episode of Star Wars. Open auditions were held in England, and as you might expect, thousands turned out for a chance to play the two lead characters, a young man and a young woman. Auditions will also be held in several cities in this country, and to all those hoping for a big break, may the Force be with you. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and here in New York, a special visitor is back in town to help observe the holiday. The USS New York, an amphibious transport ship, was built in part with 7 tons of steel salvage from the rubble of the 9/11 attack on the World Trade Center. New York imagery is incorporated throughout the vessel, and a piece of steel on display has the ship's motto, "Strength forged through sacrifice. Never forget," it reads. Up next, helping women veterans get back in the game here at home.
My asthma's under control. I don't miss out.
You sat out most of our game yesterday.
Asthma doesn't affect my job.
You were out sick last week.
My asthma doesn't bother my family.
You coughed all through our date night.
I hardly use my rescue inhaler at all.
What did you say? How about every day?
Coping with asthma isn't controlling it. Test your level of control at asthma.com. Then talk to your doctor. There may be more you could do for your asthma.
You know, some people have told me reverse mortgages sound too good to be true. I mean, you get cash out of your home, no monthly payments, and still own your home. There's got to be a catch, right, Jesse? Well, there isn't. It's like any other mortgage, only with a reverse mortgage, the loan's paid back when the last borrower leaves the home. In fact, reverse mortgages are based on a notion that President Reagan signed into law over 25 years ago in order to help seniors remain in their homes. They're simply an effective way for folks just like you to get the cash you need to enjoy your retirement.
Call 1-800-841-8599 now to receive a new free information kit, including a reverse mortgage guide and DVD, personal stories from people like you, and a brand new family guide for children and loved ones, all absolutely free with no obligation. With a government-insured tax-free reverse mortgage from AAG, you always retain complete ownership of your home. Call 1-800-841-8599 to receive your free info kit today.
If you have high blood pressure like I do, many cold medicines may raise your blood pressure. That's why there's Coricidin HBP. It relieves cold symptoms without raising blood pressure. So look for powerful cold medicine with the heart, Coricidin HBP.
You can change your tomorrow if you do something today. And there's never been a better time. Because this year, DeVry University has $45 million in need and merit-based scholarships and grants available to those who qualify. And this degree can make a difference. In 2012, 90% of DeVry University grads actively seeking employment had careers in their field within 6 months. Now is your time. Apply by January 6th. Visit devry.edu.
America's team to some, but not to everyone.
Let's show them who America's team really is.
The Cowboys head into a Big Easy showdown against the Saints.
And Breeze, deep downfield, touchdown.
Next, only on NBC.
Finally tonight, as we honor those who have served this country, tomorrow on Veterans Day, it's important to remember the tough time many veterans have transitioning back into civilian life. Now, as our Stephanie Gosk reports, a new program is helping some women veterans get back on course.
The game of golf. Sometimes great.
Good, Judy. Right.
But mostly maddening.
That's it. Oh my God.
How is that fun?
Because we're doing it all together. Exactly. And I'm not sitting in my house alone all day, every day.
Yep. Which was exactly what war veteran Judy Salerson did when she returned from Iraq, struggling with PTSD.
The flashbacks, it just... I just felt like I couldn't go anywhere because I was afraid someone would see and judge me.
All right. Until she met former pro Renee Powell, who started the first female chapter of the PGA's veteran program called Hope.
But good. I think there needs to be more support for women veterans.
Every week when the weather is warm, female veterans who served in conflicts from Vietnam to Afghanistan grab their clubs and hit this course in East Canton, Ohio.
Golf is so therapeutic, calm, and very calm. Very calming, very therapeutic. You're out with nature, so it's very spiritual too.
Powell's father, a World War II veteran himself, started this course in 1946.
He's the one that taught me the game of golf, so I'm able to teach them. Finish on your left side.
Powell teaches each player that golf is a game of patience. A metaphor, Christian Turner says, for adjusting back into civilian life.
You have to be very patient. You have to be very understanding. You have to take a step back, look at the grand scheme of things.
Playing the weekly round with women who share similar stories helps.
Well, when you are tearing it up out here together, it's okay.
Yeah.
And you can celebrate each other together.
Yes. Tearing it up is good or bad?
It's bad.
Okay. The camaraderie makes that rare perfect shot even sweeter.
Yes.
Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, East Canton, Ohio.
That's NBC Nightly News for this Sunday. Brian Williams will be here tomorrow. Coming up next, Football Night in America, followed by the Saints versus the Cowboys. I'm Lester Holt reporting from New York for all of us here at NBC News. Good night.
This week, we celebrate those who've inspired us in ways great and small, and ask you to share the stories of people you are inspired by. A week that could change the way you look at your world.
Who inspires you?
When news breaks, we're there for you. Few things on Earth move faster than electricity, but we're working on it. The Porsche Panamera plug-in hybrid. The exhilaration of a pure sports car from a socket.
The 2014s are here, so we're making the 2013s disappear. With $2,000 cash back on a 2013 Camry, $1,500 back on every 2013 Corolla, Yes, 2